I was like, oh, I'm going live. Welcome. I hope you are having a beautiful and amazing day today. It is a rainy day here in Oregon, as usual. I'm very happy to see you. I am bringing you this message, this sort of moment of thinking about here in the United States, especially. We are moving into the winter season and all of the amazing things that happen in winter. It's such a lovely time to explore the darkness and think about what the darkness can give us as exploration and opportunity to root down and go into the dark places, to think about how we're going to open up next spring in this beautiful, fertile place. And I've been thinking a lot about Mary and about the season and what this season means and what it looks like. And if you're here, tell me you're here and say hi in the comments. I can't, I don't know you're here unless you tell me. I've been thinking a lot about fertility and this season, especially with everything that's happening um, in the world and how. Hello, Mumbo Elizabeth Ruth. I'm so happy to see you, my friend. Um, about how we are really being encouraged to stay put, and Mother Earth has invited us with all sorts of weather and pandemics and invitations to get really comfy and cozy in our bodies and in ourselves and in our spaces. And really thinking about this idea of how can we be open and accepting as a womb, and how can we take this opportunity how can we take this opportunity to actually open ourselves up to be receptive and waiting for our purpose and living out our purpose. And I just really wanted to come in here today and just to really invite you to think about um, how can we really embody this idea of fertility and darkness, and fall into this idea of embodying this space of looking at our shadow side and really going in deep into the darkness, where fertility happens, and really thinking about taking a pregnant pause. I have been I think it's really fascinating that at the end of the year, there's this constant rush for raising money for nonprofits and figuring out how do we like bring in more and create goals and get ready to launch into the new year with this like really rapid rushing energy. And I think so many of us are really called to like chill out and cuddle up and stay warm and figure out how to like be in this idea of warmth and nourishment and connection with each other. And so I was thinking a lot of taking a pregnant pause and what would happen. My mother asked me, she's like, what are you doing for Christmas Eve and Christmas? And I was like, nothing. We're in the middle of a pandemic. And she said, well, I thought you would at least be doing stuff. And I'm like, no, we're not doing anything. Like, I'm going to drink a lot of tea and probably a lot of whiskey. And we're going to open presents. But, like, I'm not doing anything exceptional because I'm really in the mood to take a pregnant pause and, like, really pause and fall into the idea of what feels nourishing and how can I be open and accepting as a womb and be receptive and waiting to the next thing that's going to happen in the new year instead of like running into my goals and my, all of this rushing energy, and really thinking about how we can move into the next several weeks as the embodiment of love in the world and compassion, and transforming through compassion and love, and thinking about how we can be very merciful and graceful with each other. Like how, and trust me, I'm having a hard time having tender mercies for many people because I'm like, please stay home. And if you can't wear a mask, because we're in the middle of this pandemic, which is an invitation again to chill out and relax. And so I'm really thinking about how this season is this season, even though the leaves have dropped from the trees and all of our plants and animals are going into the long waiting. This is the season of connecting to sacrifice and love and the strength to accept our purpose, especially if we tap into the divine feminine and the idea of divinity and femininity and birth and pregnancy. So I really love the idea of asking the question, um, instead of asking, why me? When we have these visions and these big dreams and these big ideas that come to us out of nowhere, instead of being like, I can't possibly do that, or why me, really asking the question, how can this be? I was reading an email from Richard Rohr, and that was the idea that was put forth by the author he was talking about was Mary didn't ask, why me? Like, I don't understand. Mary asked, how could this be? Like, how could this miracle be happening to me? And I think that's such a lovely idea. Like, the idea of being like, what would it be like to just trust and surrender to this notion that I'm here to be super amazing and write this book that I'm writing right now and coach these clients and build the mermaid's garden? Like, what would happen if I just surrendered and trusted and asked repeatedly, how can this be? So I really invite all of us to take the next couple of weeks and think about transformation through compassion, and how can we move into the next several weeks with this idea of going into the darkness and the fertility of that womb like space, because it's just going to keep getting darker. And how can we enter into 2021 thinking about our amazing capacity to expand and receive, and set that as like the embodiment of love in the world. So I really invite you to take the next couple of weeks to take a pregnant pause. Imagine that you're gestating magic, and imagine that you're gestating beautiful dreams, and just let them come to you as they will, and really think about how you can rest in the knowing that you are here to engage in gestation and dreaming and creation in whatever way you feel called and compelled to do so. And the last thing I want to say is that Beverly Lanzetta said this, that darkness is a pregnant place from which one gives birth to the divine. And I think that is such a really beautiful idea, that darkness is not something we should be running from, but something that we can really fall into, where we can really think about, she calls it the theology of gestation. This idea of darkness being the place where all life happens. Instead of thinking of it as this scary place, thinking of darkness as a place where we can engage in really intentional, thoughtful creation. And as we're moving into January, and I'm getting ready to teach a masterclass about really healing some of the internalized misogyny that you may have experienced, and moving into Rebel School that starts at the end of January. As I'm closing off Rebel School right now in December and thinking about moving into January and creating another new space, how can I really ask these questions of, how do I help people just really hold on to that strength to accept their purpose? And how can we continue to teach each other and hold each other in sacred spaces so that we can really connect and accept that embodiment of love in the world? So I really I just wanted to take this moment to thank you for all of your love and support over the last year as our year is winding down, and also invite you to think about this idea of holding on to this pregnant place where we can really dig deep um, into the our inner knowing and our inner calling in the world, and entering the new year not from a place of fear and anxiety, although I know that those feelings, I have them um, sometimes as well, but really thinking about what are the opportunities in these moments where we can really find that love and connection and grace for each other and for other people. And how can we really watch our dreams and our visions grow moving into 2021 in a way that is lovely and beautiful and greater and more expansive and bigger than we've been doing this year. So, hi, Nicole. So, I really encourage you to take risks in the next couple of weeks to go deep within yourself and think about how you are infinite and you are magic and you are just eternal possibility. And I hope that I get to see you in my classes. And if any of you want information about Rebel School, please ask me. And I hope to be giving you a new book in 2021 called The Graceful Revolution, which will be really awesome. And I think you're all amazing. And I'm very grateful to have all of you in my world. And I just really thank you for helping me make my voice be heard in the world too. So I'm grateful to you. I love all of you. I really encourage you to engage in the most amazing conjuring and magic and discernment and rebellion and all the awesome things in the next couple of weeks. And I just think you're really great. So thank you for being a part of my life. And I hope you have a super amazing next couple of weeks until I see you again in the new year.